Alright guys, I'm going to try to do this fast. There's a fire alarm that keeps going off. I may pause it if it goes off again and just pick it up. Alright, parallelograms, what we're learning about today. Parallelograms have four sides. Remember quadrilateral. We know that by definition a parallelogram, its opposite sides are parallel. So you can see the marks here. We've learned about those marks. They indicate which lines or segments are parallel. Right, so these two are parallel, these two are parallel, opposite sides. If you want to name a parallelogram without using the word parallelogram, you could use this symbol, parallelogram ABCD. That's how you'd read this. And we could name that parallelogram or write that parallelogram that way. There are five properties in addition to the definition of parallelograms. We know that all the sides, both pairs of opposite sides are parallel, as we marked there. We also know that opposite sides are congruent. So these are parallel, but they're also congruent. These are parallel, but they're also congruent. We also know that opposite angles are congruent. So let's talk about opposite angles. So this whole angle, it is being split by a diagonal, but this is an entire angle. Angle A is congruent to angle C. Those are opposite angles. Angle B and angle D, those are opposite angles. They are always congruent in a parallelogram. We also know that consecutive interior angles, so this angle A plus this angle B are not congruent, but we know they are always supplementary. So same side, consecutive, remember, means same side. And we're talking about the same side of the parallelogram here, not the same side of transversals. So A and B are on the same side of this parallelogram. B and C are on the same side of this on this side of the parallelogram. So there's four sides, right? So there's four pairs of consecutive angles. So all consecutive angles, if you add them together, remember they equal 180. That's what that means. So as an example, angle A plus angle B equal 180. Angle B plus angle C equal 180. Angle C plus angle D equals 180. Angle D plus angle A equals 180. Another property we know to be true about all parallelograms is that their alternate interior angles formed by the diagonals, here they're congruent. So we're talking about, this diagram is getting really busy, so I'm going to color code. We know that this angle and this angle, alternate sides, that means opposite sides, they are congruent. We know that this other pair are congruent, right? Those are the opposite sides here. We also have a pair here. So this pair and this pair, and let's try to do a different color. This pair and this pair, so opposite sides. There's a lot of things we know about parallelograms. And lastly, but not least, we know that the diagonal, so these lines that go from opposite angle to opposite angle in a parallelogram, if we draw them, that they bisect each other. Remember what that means? That means that they split it into two congruent parts. So AE, we're going to use three dashes here because we already got 1 and 2, has to be the same length as EC. We know that this diagonal is also bisected by this one, so now we know this segment is congruent to this segment. So lots of information we know here. So how does that help us? So for solving for missing angles or solving for a variable, we can use these properties. So the measure of UTQ, so UTQ, this angle, and the measure of angle UQT, these are two things we're looking for, and we're also looking for what is the value of x. So remember this one, alternate interior angles formed by the diagonals are congruent. So if this is 42, the alternate interior angle here is 42. So UTQ is 42 degrees. UQT, this is another diagonal, so this angle is an alternate anterior angle to this angle that we're looking for. So we know this one is congruent, so it has to be 61 degrees. And last but not least, we know that this segment is congruent to this segment because diagonals bisect each other. So this diagonal splits this one into two congruent sides. So 4x plus 1 equals 13. Subtract 1 from both sides, and 4x equals 12. Divide both sides by 4, and x equals 3. Remember, you can pause this at any time to catch up. Consider this parallelogram, QRST. QRST. We want to find the measure QRT, so we want to find this measure. We want to find the measure of angle Q, and we want to find the value of x. Well, remember opposite sides are congruent, so let's knock out the easy one first. 5x equals 15. Divide both sides by 5. Now we know x is 3. That's the easy one I said. Well, this one is even easier. These opposite angles have to be congruent, right? So if this is 96 degrees, then this one has to be 96 degrees. So that one's pretty easy as well. And last but not least, this angle here is the opposite side of this diagonal. So opposite interior angles are congruent in all parallelograms. So now we know that one is 52 as well. All right, if we want to determine if a quadrilateral is a parallelogram, we can prove, we can use any of these 6 things, okay? Obviously, if both pairs of sides are parallel, we can use that one. And there's an extra one here, so let's go back and read them all. If we can prove both pairs of opposite sides are congruent, if we can prove both pairs of opposite angles are congruent, if we can prove that both pairs of same side interior angles are supplementary, if we can prove that alternate interior angles formed by the diagonals are congruent, and if we can prove the diagonals bisect each other. If we can do any of those, we can say, yes, that's a parallelogram. And one more thing. If we can prove that one pair of sides is congruent and parallel, then we don't have to prove anything else. We can state that, in fact, that figure is a parallelogram. So let's look at some ways you're going to see it on your homework. So they're going to ask you to determine, is this a parallelogram or is it not necessarily a parallelogram? Well, we've marked a pair of sides parallel here, but that's not enough, right? One pair of parallel sides is not enough. But remember, as long as we can prove that the alternate interior angles are congruent, we can say it's a parallelogram. And they've marked it here. So that is a parallelogram. This one, they're telling that this one pair of sides is congruent and is parallel. So that was our one we added on. So now we can say yes, this quadrilateral is a parallelogram. Now let's look at this one. It looks like at first glance that the alternate interior angles are congruent. And so let's see, are they? There's one arc here and one arc here. 2 arcs here and 2 arcs here. So yes, those are a parallelogram. 2 pairs of congruent sides, that's one of our tests, right? Both pairs of opposite sides are congruent, and that's what these marks say. So now we can say that that one is a parallelogram. And that's it. So we did not do an example of all of the types of examples that you're going to see in your homework, but remember, you can use the explanations, the examples, and the helps in that assignment to help you with the ones that maybe we didn't do an exact example of. Okay, I will see you on Wednesday. Take care.